Subscribe to both of my YouTube channels, Sharon Winbush and God is Sharon. Turn on notifications and share all videos. Press my name below this video and that will take you to my channel where you will find more videos on this subject and many others. Sparkle saying that she never had sex with R. Kelly
is an absolute fucking lie.
I worked in Robert's home early 1997, and one day I was looking for matches. I went through his dining room drawer, top drawer, feeling around the side for matches. Something was scratching my skin, so I pulled it out. It ended up being pictures, a stack of pictures. I looked at the pictures, and there were women engaging in sexual activity, wearing black panties. The only female that I recognized was Sparkle. I immediately knew it was her. I quickly shuffled through the pictures, being nosy, and then put the pictures back where they came from and closed the drawer. One day, Robert answered the door. A female walked towards the kitchen, Robert right behind her, and it was Sparkle. And Robert said to Sparkle, "Oh, this is my nutritionist. She's the best nutritionist in the world." And he had this little sheepish grin on his face. But it was her response that was shocking, because I reached over to extend my hand to shake her hand because he had just introduced us, and she crossed her arms, folded across her chest, rolled her eyes, turned, and headed towards the staircase. Now, once she turned, I could see that she had on a see-through skirt with black panties underneath. The skirt was tan or a cream color, and obviously the panties stood out against that color. So I saw very clearly she came to seduce him. Drea wasn't there. When I saw Drea the next day, I asked her where was she, and she said she had gone to her mother's house. So Sparkle and Robert proceeded up the stairs, and that's when I saw another female walking back behind his piano, and she followed them upstairs as well. It appeared as if Robert was giving them a tour of the house, and then they ended up in the master bedroom. There's only a king-size bed in that bedroom, so all three of them ended up on the king-size bed. Then we found out from Dre, from public announcement, and from Earl from public announcement, that Sparkle was married to Earl. She left Earl to be with R. Kelly. So Sparkle definitely was sexually involved with Robert. And I confirmed it with Robert himself. February 2nd of 2019, Robert reached out to me, called me. We talked for 3 hours. And one of the questions I asked him was, did he have sex with Sparkle? And the reason I asked was, I told him I had done an interview and I had talked about the pictures that I had found in the drawer, and I, reminded him of the time that Sparkle came by the house. Robert Kelly, R. Kelly, told me himself he was sexually involved with Sparkle. So again, her denying it
is an absolute fucking lie.
Valerie Landfair was married to Greg Landfair. They were brought in to meet Robert through Sparkle, and Greg began playing guitar for Robert, and Val obviously was attracted to him, and she decided she wanted to have sex with this sex symbol of R&B, this global icon, in spite of the fact that her sister, Sparkle, was having sex with him, and Sparkle was the one that brought her in. And in spite of the fact that her daughter got sexually involved with him as well. Because I knew RESHONA, I was extremely interested in what she had to say. I met her early 1997. Every Tuesday, she would come by the house, and most times she would sit in the kitchen with me while I cooked. So I got to know her as a 13, 14, 15-year-old girl. And I was extremely interested in hearing her side of it and hearing her perspective. And whatever she said, I would have believed her. So I went in um, eager to hear. And what I heard was not someone who was a victim, not someone who was coerced, not someone who was manipulated, someone who, given the environment she was raised in and grew up in, made a choice for herself. Because RESHONA knew he was married with a young baby. She knew her aunt was sexually involved with him. And that told you the moral scope of the family right there. She knew Sparkle was involved with them because she told me Sparkle was her aunt when I first met her. And now she's at the house with his wife and his baby. So the lines of morality were already blurred for her. And then she becomes attracted to him. So I didn't hear a victim. I didn't hear someone who regretted their decision. I didn't hear someone who was, um, what the government is describing a victim of R. Kelly. What I heard was a young female who was around someone and became infatuated, attracted to, and by her definition, who she loved. Throughout her testimony, she talked about how much she loved this man, and her behavior was consistent with that. Young girls make these choices all the time. Young girls at 14, 15, 16 years old choose someone 10 years, 15 years older if they have money and fame to fall in love with and lose their virginity to. Robert was 30. She was 14. It is what it is. And I don't have a judgment about it. I don't condemn it, and I don't condone it. They were people that made choices for their life, and that's what I heard. RESHONA knew that R. Kelly was involved with Sparkle. She knew that they had a relationship that was sexual. She also knew that R. Kelly was married because she came to his home and she was around his wife, Drea. She also knew that he had a newborn baby, Joanne, who she babysat. So RESHONA Landfair, walking in the door when she met R. Kelly, knew he was a married man with a newborn baby, knew that her sister or auntie was sexually involved with him and in a relationship, and yet she persisted. She knew how to say the word no. So if she's on the telephone and somebody asks her what color her panties are, she certainly knew how to hang the phone up. She knew how to say no, and she knew how to run and tell her mother and father and her aunt and say, this behavior bothers me. That's not what she did. RESHONA Landfair, at 14, knew the word no. She knew if something was uncomfortable for her. And she knew R. Kelly was a married man with a newborn baby, and he was sexually involved with her aunt, Sparkle. And she knew this long before getting sexually involved. She came by his house every Tuesday. She babysat Joanne. She spent time with Drea. So these are things that she knew. And yet, at whatever point, a year and a half into meeting him, she decided to consent, to agree to sexual interaction with him. Because she was a young female in her teens who decided to lose her virginity to an R&B legend. Most females in her position would have done the same thing. I didn't hear someone who was a victim in her testimony. I didn't hear someone that had regret. I didn't hear someone who didn't understand the choices that she made. What I heard was a young girl who was going to lose her virginity to somebody. And RESHONA Landfair, however you disagree with it, she chose to lose her virginity to a sex symbol of R&B, to a rock god, a rock star, a legend, a musical icon, a global sensation. And that was her choice. At 15, she decided to lose her virginity to R. Kelly. She decided that's who she loved, that's who she wanted to be in a relationship with, and that's who she was going to be sexually active with and lose her virginity to. Females 14 and 15 make those decisions all day, every day. She was involved with him for 14 years sexually, and she remained friends with him. Her family remained close to him all the way up until after surviving R. Kelly. They never wanted to testify against him. They never wanted to come forward and say anything because RESHONA loved him. And apparently her mother loved him too and was sexually attracted to him. So Sparkle had sex with him, her sister Val had sex with him, and RESHONA Landfair had sex with him. And they all chose to have sex with a sex symbol, a rock star, a legend, a musical genius. Who can blame them? Every woman in the world given the opportunity would have done the same thing, most of them.